Good evening. I would like to call the April 15th, 2025 Planning Commission meeting to order. Please note this meeting is being hosted through live stream on the city website and by teleconference via Zoom. I would like to remind the planning commissioners to have their microphones turned on in position so the audience can hear. Director Monique, may we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Viramontes,
Here.
Commissioner Clark,
Present.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Chair Beamsterfer,
Here. Commissioner Clark, can you do invocation and flag salute, please?
I'll do the invocation first. Gracious God, as we come before you tonight, we ask for your guidance and wisdom. You are the source for all knowledge and understanding. Therefore, we seek your direction in our decision-making process tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. Flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4A is a public comment period for items not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public present that would like to comment on the item that is not on the agenda?
I don't show anyone online requesting to speak, but we may have a speaker now.
You can speak and state your name, please.
Hi, yes.
And you get a
Hello.
3-minute,
Oh, is this a
3-minute
laser
time period.
pointer? How fun. So when I get to do some projects and have actually some slideshows going. Hi, yes, my name is Genevieve Lee, Southside the Whitman. I want to try and begin enacting these ideas of housing, food, education, public transit, and healthcare as necessities to enacting a virtuous economic cycle. This concept of earnings contribute to taxes, taxes contribute to government programs contribute to earnings. And so I thought, how can I generate more earnings? How can others generate more earnings? They can generate more earnings if they're well fed. Food. They can generate more earnings if they're well rested. Housing. They can generate more earnings if they're healthy. Healthcare. They can generate more earnings if they're able to get there. Public transit. They can generate more earnings if they know how to generate more earnings. Education. And in that idea of trying to organize these thoughts, I at least want to focus on food. Goals, plans, and dates for a community garden ecosystem. Mission statement. Before I jump into this, though, quick joke. I would feel safer having a medical copter, a fire copter, a mail copter, but not a surveillance copter. Food is a human right. The storytelling that has been around us for millennia tells us that we are stewards of this earth, that we are tasked with caring for one another and this place we come from, ever giving, ever receiving, so that others may come and partake and enjoy, not just from here, but out there too, supposedly. Ordered entropy. Accidents will happen, but let's acknowledge and fix them in tandem, grounded in material reality, not ethereal possibilities. This thus motivates me to creating a system of community-owned, equitably distributed gardens that will be available to the public, ran by the public, and out of the jurisdiction of local law enforcement, as their ethos runs counter to community development. I envision a society that eventually does not require law enforcement. We must begin enacting that somewhere, and a community garden ecosystem would begin to answer the underlying problems that, quote, necessitate, unquote, the use of such punitive measures. Let us build a better tomorrow, not just for ourselves, but for those after us, and after them, and after them, and after them. It gets easier. We just need to start, and we need to maintain the rhythm every day. I think EVs are cool, but we should have 24/7 public transit. I think space travel is cool, but are we taking care of a planet? Are we taking care of people that happen to be on that planet when we go there?
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public that'd like to make a comment?
Chair Beamsterfer, I do not show anyone online requesting to speak, and I do not have any other public inquiries, and I did not receive any e-comments.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 5 is your approval of the minutes for the special meeting of March 10th, 2025. Does the commission have any comments or corrections?
I have no comments and corrections. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the Planning Commission special meeting of March 10, 2025.
I second it.
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Viramontes,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer,
Yes.
and that motion carries 4-0.
Item 5B is your approval of the minutes from the meeting of March 18th, 2025. Does the commission have any comments or corrections to that meeting? If not, may I ask for a motion, please?
I have a motion to approve the minutes for the Planning Commission meeting of March 18th, 2025.
Second the motion.
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Viramontes,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Abstain.
Chair Beamsterfer,
Yes.
and that motion carries 3-0.
Receive and file, agenda item 6A is the 2425 SB1 Street Rehabilitation Project. Deputy Director Jillian Ferris.
Hi, guys. Good evening, Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. It's actually supposed to be fiscal year 25-26, so I apologize if that was input incorrectly.
That's fine.
Sorry. Sorry about that. This is just a quick presentation to show you guys the streets that we're planning to put into the SB1 resolution. Okay. And it's consistent with quality of life and organizational effectiveness as part of our strategic plan. So Senate Bill 1 was signed into law on April 28, 2017, and the bill created the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Program and the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Account, and these fund basic road maintenance and rehabilitation. And every year, the city must adopt a budget and adopt a resolution with the list of projects to be funded by the SB1 funds. So this year, in our SB1 resolution, we're planning to add Menlo Avenue from Park Avenue to San Jacinto Street, and Park Avenue from Yale Street to Dartmouth Street, and this would be the city side only, and potentially, hopefully partnering with the city of San Jacinto for them to do their portion, but in our budget would just be our side. Wentworth Drive from the National Tube Supply Project that's currently under construction to Costin Avenue, because a portion of that street is being constructed now as part of the National Tube Supply Project. And then Carmelita Street from Mayberry Avenue to Whittier Avenue. And the approximate cost for the project is about $2.3 million, and the city's projected 25-26 SB1 revenue is $2,352,469. So that's it, just a quick presentation for you guys, and I'm here if you have any questions or discussion or anything.
Thank you for that presentation. Commission, do you have a question for our Deputy Public Works Director?
No, but I'd like to commend your efforts. It's really starting to look good out there. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, we're working on it. It's really expensive out there, I will tell you. So
Yeah, I
money doesn't
imagine.
go as far as it used to, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
And I look forward to the Public Works open house.
Yes, absolutely. You're all invited. So.
Have we heard anything from San Jacinto?
We did have a meeting, and so they're going to look into putting that into their budget if possible. I mean, obviously,
nice.
they have to talk with their higher ups and stuff like that.
It'd be
and
nice to
present
get
a
both
budget.
sides. Yeah,
It,
it'd be
it
nice.
would be, yes, it would.
And
be.
that's for Park Avenue?
Park Avenue, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for letting me present.
Thank you, Jillian.
Thank you. And we just receive and file, right? That's all we have to say. Okay. Item 7A, zoning ordinance amendment number 20-25-002 with our newly deputy director, former vice chair Emery Papp.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that lovely introduction. Commissioners, members of the public out this evening, we appreciate your time. Emery Papp presenting for the Community Development Department. The item before you this evening is a proposal for a municipal code amendment, zoning ordinance amendment number 2025-002. The proposal would be in line with 2 strategic plan goals and objectives in terms of economic opportunity and partnership and collaboration. And I'll go into that in a little more detail later. The Hemet Municipal Code provides the authority to the Planning Commission to review and make recommendations on proposed ordinances and amendments to those ordinances pursuant to Section 90.41.4 of the Hemet Municipal Code. You would have the authority to review and make recommendations. The City Council would then take final action on those items, and if approved by the City Council, would become effective 30 days after the original adoption or first reading of the ordinance. The proposed ordinance before you today is in addition to Section 398-95 of the Hemet Municipal Code, adding a new section I-6. This would be an exception to allow chain link fences in the commercial manufacturing zone only, subject to the criteria specified in subparagraph A and B, 1 through 5. Again, the proposed ordinance would be in line with economic opportunity objective to streamline processes, because if approved, the fences could be approved administratively by staff. And secondly, I'm sorry. And secondly, it's in line with economic opportunity objectives. So here's a zoning map of the city that shows primarily where the commercial manufacturing zones are located. They're in the 4 large black clouded areas. 2 of them are much larger than the others. So we're looking primarily at the northeast corner of the city. And these areas are basically in line with the former railroad right-of-way. And then one section on Palm near Menlo, across from Camelot Retirement Community, where there's some very old industrial auto shops and things of that nature that still remain to this day. The required findings to approve the proposed zone change, the zoning ordinance amendment, would allow for affordable opportunities and reduce loss related to theft and vandalism, thereby making it convenient and affordable for property owners. And also, the requirement for durable materials reduces the need for maintenance and upkeep, which also helps to reduce costs to the property owners in terms of vandalism, losses due to theft, and it would also increase property values. In terms of the California Environmental Quality Act, the project would be exempt from CEQA under the common sense exemption, that being that this is a text amendment to the municipal code, there is no direct development impact, and therefore there would be no significant impact directly to the environment from the approval of the ordinance. If approved, staff would prepare a notice of exemption and file it with Riverside County and the state of California. In terms of public notice and comment, the staff report identified a 10-day public hearing notice. That's incorrect. Apologize for that. The dates in the staff report, however, were correct, which ensured a 20-day public notice pursuant to state law. So we do have a correct and proper notice. Apologize for that typo in the staff report. Also, the provided on the slide here is the proof of the proof that the ad was published in the Press Enterprise. Therefore, it's staff's recommendation this evening to you that we respectfully ask that you receive all the materials, public input and comment this evening, your own discussion and possible additions to the code, and that you would then adopt the Planning Commission resolution before you in the staff report, and that you would find that the project is in fact exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Alternative recommendation would be that the Planning Commission, through your discussions and determinations, could modify or amend the proposed ordinance, and some of the subject materials you might consider would be applying these provisions to certain size lots, possibly additional types of materials, other enhancements. Should this be opened up to other zones? Perhaps maybe other decorative elements in sensitive receptor areas, maybe adjacent to residential uses, and things of that nature. This concludes my presentation this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Oh, we have questions.
Thank you, Deputy Director Papp. Does the commission have any questions for Mr. Papp?
Yeah, I have a couple. I saw on here that it looks like there's different height requirements for different styles of fencing. So this concrete gonna get, it looks like here it says 6 feet, but they could request for an additional 2 feet. Is that different than what the chain link fence has?
Well, those height standards apply to the fence height regardless of material. So for example, 6 foot high is the standard in the commercial manufacturing zone, but with by approval of the community development director, for security reasons, the height could be enhanced up to 8 feet. Anything 6 feet or below currently does not require a building permit. Anything 6 feet or higher does require a building permit.
Last question, at the 6 feet, if they want to add barbed wire to the top or some sort of protection, does that add on to the 6 feet?
Barbed wire is not permitted in
Okay,
Hemet,
cool.
so that would,
Fantastic.
people have put it up there, but they've done so without permits.
Okay.
Any more?
Nope, I'm good over here.
In the draft, with decorative elements in the approval of the fencing, are we talking the plastic slats that go in sideways to stop public view in?
So the intent of this particular ordinance is for security at a lower cost than, say, your traditional block wall. But certainly, the ordinance already requires screening if there's outdoor storage or if there's other materials outside. So screening would be required, and currently the requirements would be for a block wall or something completely opaque.
Right.
You cannot see through. With slats, you can still see through them. Plus, they can be damaged over time. They collect bags of wind or bags blown by the wind or weeds, things like that, litter in general.
Yeah.
But that's something at your pleasure, if you will, to determine whether or not we should add additional screening elements to this particular code update.
Right, because the reason why I asked that, a lot of people with chain link fences will put, especially in residential, the shade cloth
Yes.
on the one side. And so when I see decorative elements, I'm wondering, are people going to think, because I get it, you do want it like a brick wall or a cement wall, you're not going to see in there. But are we going to go as far to say shade cloth is okay?
Shade cloth's not truly decorative. It's more of a screening item. So if we were talking about somebody having an outdoor storage yard, then yes, we would probably likely allow them to install that
Shade
kind of
cloth.
screening and shade cloth screening, but that wouldn't be considered decorative. A decorative element might be something like pilasters with other alternative fencing material in between, maybe some enhanced landscaping, maybe some solar lighting, something to that effect would be more
Okay.
of a decorative element.
So we're not going to speak to it there with that, because I can just see, I've seen the shade cloth, come down. And
Sure.
it's just not durable or for that sort of thing. It could be if it's maintained, but, I would kind of like to see that not be, especially the street, a street view. I think it's much prettier to have something where those decorative
Slats?
slats go in.
Yeah.
And I don't think color matters so much as just no shade cloth out on the street. That, to me, is like,
Under construction.
yeah, under construction, or maybe we've got
Temporary.
yeah. So that's my view.
Commissioner Clark, just for clarity, are you talking about being able to see it from the street view or being fronting the street? Because there
Fronting.
already is a discussion in there regarding fences that would be erected within a required front yard area.
Yeah.
That decorative elements must be included, not something like shade cloth. But
Yeah.
I think we can amend the proposed ordinance to deal with the shade cloth issue.
Yeah, I just see it as a potential. Anyways, thank you, Emery.
You're welcome.
You good?
Finished?
Mr. Papp?
Yes, sir.
So this ordinance is for existing manufacturers that are in this commercial manufacturing zone today?
It would apply to any parcel in the in the commercial manufacturing zone, whether it's currently occupied or vacant.
Okay, so if they don't currently have it, when this goes into effect, they're going to have to implement this?
They wouldn't have to, but currently they're not allowed to install chain link in the commercial manufacturing zone at all.
I see.
They'd be in violation of the municipal code if they installed a chain link fence without permits, which is kind of funny to say because permits are not currently required. So we have this quandary where there's actually been multiple property owners that have erected chain link fence that are in code enforcement compliance situations right now. But we have property owners that in the commercial zones, primarily the commercial manufacturing zones, that are experiencing losses due to theft, and they're looking for ways to secure their property, but they might be on very large parcels and it's cost prohibitive to put up a block wall or perhaps
Right.
wrought iron fencing.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. So when you did the public notice, did you get any response to public notice at all?
None. Frequently, we get them just immediately the day of the public hearing. We have received no mail, no email. The only correspondence we've had was from 3 tribes that we put out the AB 52 and SB 18 notices because we're required to do that with a zone change or a zoning ordinance amendment. And we did receive 3 communications from 3 tribes that said they had no comment. And the other one was from the Airport Land Use Commission, who stated that the proposed ordinance was in compliance with the Airport Land Use Compatibility Plan.
Okay. All right, good. I agree with Commissioner Clark with the screening and the visual thing. If that could be amended to the ordinance, that would be great.
I think we can accommodate that.
Thank you. All right. No further questions. Thank you.
I'm going to piggyback on both of them when it comes to the screening. It may be kind of a foolish question, but I know how we address graffiti. When a graffiti happens, we want the commercial or whoever to address and cover the graffiti. Now, with the commercial manufacturing chain link fence, we know that the transients do like to cut through fences and break in. And so if those fences are damaged, it's technically up to the owner to replace the fence, but can the city cite them for not fixing the fence?
The city can cite them for not properly maintaining their fencing materials. That's a bit of a sticky slope, but yes, the short answer is yes, absolutely. The city has the authority to require property owners to amend their damaged or dilapidated property.
I could see some commercial manufacturers that maybe are just lots right now. There's nothing there, and they put a fence around it, and nobody won't keep an eye on it. Homeowners can go in there and break in and just start making it a mess. And so we can enforce that then.
Oh, some of the comments regarding graffiti in particular, that's one of the reasons view fencing is an option, because if you tag a chain link fence, you're not going to see very much of it.
Correct.
Or a wrought iron fence, you know, you can see the color change perhaps, but you're not gonna be able to read anything that's sprayed on it. But with the shade cloth, absolutely, that can be tagged, and then that can be an unsightly issue. So we will address that.
What about electric fences? No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Keep 'em out.
I do have experience with them. They're,
All right.
even though the municipal, I'm not sure if our municipal code directly addresses this, but state law states that we cannot prohibit electric fencing in certain commercial zones for security purposes, provided it's on the inside of the fence and it's erected with a permit, or the fence was erected with a permit, and it has to be low voltage, there's certain requirements, but if they meet all those requirements, they're technically
could.
exempt from state law.
Interesting. All right.
Didn't expect that.
No, I didn't expect that either. Little loophole there. Any other questions for Deputy Director Papp?
Yeah, I got one. So I agree with So I agree with the cloth. That rips, shreds. Business owners never fix it. It looks horrible. Are we concerned that if we move with the green slats, that can get graffitied, and then that never gets fixed?
That's always a possibility, yes. I've seen it in many cities. Where you have taggers, they will find canvas.
Gotcha.
All right. Any other questions?
I don't.
Nope.
Nice presentation, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and open up public hearing. Are there any members of the public present or online that would like to comment on this item? Ms. Hernandez.
Chair Beamsterfer, I do not show anyone online requesting to speak, and I did not receive any e-comments.
Okay. With that, we're going to go ahead and close public hearing and ask the commission for a motion.
Is there a motion here? I guess so, huh?
Recommendation.
Okay.
So not necessarily a motion, though. It's just receiving the staff report. It's a motion.
Yeah.
Recommendation for city council.
I move that we recommend Mr. Papp's zoning ordinance amendment for chain link fencing in commercial manufacturing C-M zone, subject to administrative review and approval.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, if I may, would the motion maker also like to include that the deputy director also include some language with respect to the shading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and add some direction for the shade cloth not to be included.
May I have a second?
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Viramontes,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer,
Yes.
and the motion carries 4-0.
Item 7B, zoning ordinance amendment on -25-001, Community Development Director Monique.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Commission. Monique Alanis Flater, Community Development Director. This is a public hearing for Zoning Code Amendment 25-001 for digital outdoor advertising display signs with relocation and net reduction agreement. This zoning code amendment aligns with the council's strategic plan integration of quality of life economic opportunity, community engagement, partnership, collaboration, organizational effectiveness. The city currently prohibits the construction of new outdoor advertising displays, also referred to as billboards. The city has approximately 12 legal non-conforming billboards in the city on Florida Avenue. The purpose of the ordinance this evening is to consider reducing the overall number of advertising displays in the city by requiring removal of static general outdoor advertising signs and to allow construction of new digital outdoor displays to be placed in more suitable locations and to provide more attractive, aesthetically pleasing digital outdoor displays designs within the city. This also is consistent with the City of Hemet Rises economic strategy, which is adopted by the City Council on August 13, 2024. This includes a site map of existing non-conforming legal billboards in the city, highlighted in blue. As you can see here, they are located along the Florida Avenue corridor. They're clustered west of Warren Road, as well as clustered around Florida and Costin Avenue. We did identify a total of 12. I want to make a clarification in the staff report. There are 12 signs in the city, 10 of which are owned by Lamar and 2 others at Lamar Advertising Company, and the additional 2 are privately held. I wanted to provide you with a quick overview of the sites at the workshop that we held in December, but I just want to provide this again, and also in the staff report, there's a correction to the site location and some of the graphics that was included in there. So I'm just going to briefly go through these properties for you to view. So that you can see where they are in proximity to the Florida Avenue corridor. Some are located in the western portion of the city on vacant land. Most of them are on vacant, and some are also on properties that have existing buildings and businesses on them. So as you can see, they're in different locations within the city. This one in particular is located. This is actually an on-site. Yes, this is an existing one that is located. This is the correction site number 6. Correction to the staff report. That is the location. This one in particular is located within the Caltrans right-of-way, and this is also a correction. This one is located on the north side of Florida Avenue at the storage facility. This one is located 500 feet west of Columbia on Florida Avenue. This one is located at the northeast corner of Florida Avenue and Columbia. This one in particular is one of the private properties located in the close to the shopping center on the southwest corner of Florida Avenue and Gilmore Street. This is a different type of billboard. However, it does qualify as an existing non-conforming, legal non-conforming billboard in the city. And then finally, site number 12, which was identified as an additional sign. This is located right at the corner of Florida Avenue and Costin at the southwest under private ownership. At the December 17th, 2024 Planning Commission work study, we presented some options for the commission's consideration, and at that meeting, the commission preferred option number 2 for digital display. And so what I'd like to do is highlight some of the text amendments that are included in this zoning code amendment. The first section of the ordinance, section 90-1242, is amending and adding the definition of digital outdoor advertising display, as well as a general outdoor advertising display definition cleanup, and addition of relocation and net reduction agreement defined in the ordinance. The text amendment also clarifies that under a traditional sign illumination requirement, in addition to LED, digital outdoor display would not be included in this limitation criteria. The digital advertising display is prohibited in all zones unless in conjunction with relocation and net reduction agreement. The provisions allow for existing legal non-conforming advertising signs to be relocated with a net reduction and relocation agreement. The existing signs would be required to be removed prior to erecting new digital outdoor display. This outdoor display is at the discretion of the operator, the display owner operator. So I just want to clarify that it is not, the legal non-conforming status does not change if the owner of the existing outdoor display, it is at their discretion if they choose to participate in this opportunity. The text amendment also includes an addition of section 90-1285, which is the relocation and net reduction agreement ordinance. It outlines the purpose of the ordinance, the authority, as well as clarifying that the net reduction agreement is between the city and an outdoor display operator. In addition to eligibility requirements, if the applicant chooses to relocate the legal non-conforming static general outdoor advertising displays, they can. However, they have to have certain criteria. They have to submit specific items to the city. They must be in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. They must pay fees. The requirements is the site must be located on city property or city-controlled right-of-way. They are required to provide a photometric study for lighting as well as a lighting analysis. Similar to the concepts that we're providing, you're looking at a maximum of 30-foot height limit and 240 square foot area, as well as aesthetic design requirements and ADA compliance. The relocation and net reduction agreement must be approved by the City Council, subject to the findings outlined in 5A through 5G of this ordinance. The ordinance is in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act, Section 15061B3, CEQA guidelines, and that in the text amendment in that of itself does not relate to a physical project and will not result in physical change to the environment with respect to the text amendment. And therefore, it would be recommended that the commission approve determination to notice of exemption for this text amendment. A notice of hearing was published in the Press Enterprise 20 days prior to the of this noticing of this hearing on March 25th, 2025. To date, staff received correspondence from the Native American tribes through the AB 52 SB 18 process, indicating that they had no comment on the text amendment, as well as an approval from the Airport Land Use Commission finding a compliance with the airport land use plan. I did receive notification this evening from the property owners of the billboard that's located on Florida Avenue, southwest corner of Florida Avenue and Gilmore Street. They wish to be notified of this zoning code amendment. With that, it's respectfully requested that the Planning Commission adopt the Planning Commission resolution recommending approval of the zoning code amendment. And as well as any alternatives that the Planning Commission would like to recommend to forward on to the City Council. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I also want to note that Lamar, the advertising company, who is an expert in this subject matter, is also here this evening to answer questions as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Director, Director Monique. Commission, do we have any questions for staff?
Yeah, so I guess I'll go first. It said it's to reduce the amount of clutter of these billboards. Has Lamar agreed to remove or to relocate these, all 10 that they have now?
And that is a great question. Lamar has expressed interest in reducing the number of billboards, static billboards that they have currently in the city.
Okay.
Yes.
Because it wouldn't, yeah, if we build 2 electric ones, you still have the other 12, it just creates more clutter. So,
Yeah, so Lamar currently
Has 10.
owns 10 of the 12.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, here we go. So, past 3 days, I've been polling strangers. Here's my question. Is there a study on vehicle accidents in a zone of digital display? And if so, what is it?
That's an excellent question. We did not prepare a traffic study on electronic, but Lamar is here. They may have some information on that.
Okay, I would like that because out of the 20 people that I polled, 2 of them said, we're not Vegas. The other ones were consistently worried about distraction driving with youth. I mean, we already have the cell phone problem. With youth and the older generation, especially once they go and put a digital in. So you're driving along and you see, oh, wait, what's that? And it's talking to us with words. And honestly, I would say 20% were like, gosh, I'm not all that excited about it. I'd rather have the smaller billboards than the flashy. But every single one of them were like, we want to know how's the traffic, how are accidents, how are, you know, because Moreno Valley has one right there along the side of the highway, and it's what, 6 lanes on each side? There's got to be information. So that's my question.
You done? Good? Okay. Hi, Monique.
Okay, one more question. Okay.
Thank you for the presentation. I do have a few questions. You said this is a net reduction. Is there a certain number you're trying to get to?
Ultimately, it's to eliminate the static billboards in the city. However, the net reduction relocation agreement, it's a negotiation. So there is no specified number. That's why it's not in the code. It's not the percentage or the ratios are not in there. So it will depend on that agreement.
Okay, so if we eliminated all the static displays, is the ordinance then OBE or?
Oh,
If all the static displays are eliminated, is it OBE, overcome by events? Is it still valid?
oh, okay. So you're saying if all of them are eliminated, do we have even the need for this?
Yeah,
Well, so the intent is the operator will negotiate eliminating a certain amount or a certain number of them in exchange for the digital display opportunity.
okay.
So you may not, it may be quite some time before we would get to that point.
And we'll deal with it then, is that what you're saying?
It would happen in phases. So this is a long-term program. The city may only want a certain number of displays in the city.
Okay. What is the, so right now displays can only be erected on Florida Avenue, is that it?
Currently, the billboards that are existing are legal non-conforming, meaning they're prohibited in the city today. Anyone that would want to construct a new one today is prohibited from doing so.
Okay. Is that what you mean by legal non-conforming? It's
Yes.
there, but it's not?
It's grandfather.
It's
It's
grandfathered,
grandfathered.
yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Who's getting the revenue for these as we erect them?
Yes, and that's an excellent question. There's a revenue sharing component, and we do have our economic development manager. We also have Lamar here this evening that can answer that excellent question.
Revenue sharing?
And our city attorney, Layla, excuse me,
I-
our city attorney Jennifer Mizrahi is also here who can answer that question as well.
I could try to help, and then, of course, once we open up the public hearing, you have experts who know more than I do.
Yeah.
But currently, it's my understanding that the current billboards that have been here for years are on either lease to lease, month to month leases or some other kind of leases with the underlying property owners. So currently, my guess again is that those underlying property owners are getting the revenue from the leasehold agreements. That said, if this, if the ordinance were to come into effect, it would be up to, again, this ordinance is just allows for the program. There's no requirement. But it would allow for a billboard company to negotiate with the city to put a billboard on city-owned or controlled property, thereby, again, a digital board, thereby having the city actually be the lease, the landlord, if you will,
Okay.
generating some money for the city.
All right,
So that's
good.
why it kind of complies with the economic development department.
Excellent, thank you. Good. All right, that's revenue legal. ADA compliance. How do you make a billboard ADA compliant?
That is also an excellent question that I would like to defer to Lamar on that
Okay,
question. Yes.
okay. So 30 feet is the maximum height, as I understand it, right?
Yes.
Okay. What is the minimum height? Is there any minimum height?
Yes, we actually do have a minimum
What is it,
requirement.
9?
I think it's 9 feet. I think no more than.
So typically, the currently, to qualify, it has to be over, but the criteria for that is that, let me take a look here. Go ahead, yes, go ahead.
So let me just, the requirements are you talking about the new, what would be the new digital outdoor
Yes.
display? Sure. Those requirements are on, I have the PDF version, of course. I think it's page 14 of 56 in 7B, and there's a whole bunch of requirements under 4D 2, 3, 4, 5. The digital outdoor advertising display shall not exceed 30 feet in height as measured, et cetera. The total area of a single sign face shall not exceed 240 square feet per panel. We also have in here, the digital outdoor advertising display shall not be erected closer than 2,000 feet to an existing outdoor advertising display. And
2,000? Okay.
I could read some of them further.
also-
Did that answer your question?
No, there's no minimum, and if there isn't, I would suggest that we add a minimum.
I believe.
Yeah,
the
and I think
minimum
we
read
did-
was 9 feet.
Right,
on
so
the
that
ground.
was where I was, that was what I was
That's
looking
the
at. The currently, the minimum to qualify as a billboard currently is that any sign component is 9 feet in height above ground or more than 5 feet in width. However, there may need to be more of a criteria if we want to provide a minimum. That's fine. We did have that in the previous version of our draft ordinance, but we took it out just for clarity so that it was clean. But we can defer to the experts here. I think we had it at 20 feet, or was it?
So currently, the 9 feet does refer to the general outdoor advertising display. The requirements for what would be a newly constructed digital display are located in that section that I was talking about, which was section 4 under the requirements.
Do we want to provide a minimum?
And
in
we could add a
condition.
minimum fee, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, that'd be appreciated.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but maybe the applicant knows, or Lamar knows what is typically done.
Yes, I appreciate that. I had that in the last version, because it based on their specifications on there.
Okay.
And it was either between like 15 to 20 feet in height,
Okay.
minimum, where the lower portion of the pole.
Okay.
Didn't it have to do with the grade of the property also?
Yes, and then that became also a little bit complicated to try to regulate, because we don't know the surface and the elevation at what point in time, but yes, it is supposed to be 30 feet in height as measured from the grade of the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so we're not going to see any of these digital signs on Damatagoni or State, just Florida Avenue.
No, so then I do want to clarify if from the PowerPoint, there was a site plan provided on the locations of the existing ones, and then some proposed locations that are the preferred locations that have been researched, that are already within the control of the city,
Yeah.
that are in city right of way or on city property. One of which is on Florida Avenue, and the other one is located on Domenigoni and west of Sanderson.
Oh, God, you really?
Okay, any other questions?
My suggestion is to take away the one on Domatagoni and leave it just on the Florida corridor, Florida Avenue corridor. That is my suggestion. Thank you. That's all the questions I have in the comments.
Okay. On California Outdoor Advertising Act, on-site, off-site advertising. And we discussed this, I know I brought up with city attorney, but we discussed this at the last meeting about businesses that, let's say, I'm gonna go kind of different directions here, but businesses that want to advertise on the billboard that's located on the property, wherever property may be. From what I understand, for an off-site, on an on-site, they're allowed to do it if it's permitted billboards in designated areas, that they're allowed to advertise their businesses, even though the billboard is right in the front of their property. And I'm asking this question because I don't think the city should capitalize and bank on the I understand Lamar's in it for the business, but there are people that lease the land that depend on that income. And Commissioner Worth brought that up last time, where, what about those folks? I know there's negotiation, but in the end, it's not fair to them that Lamar wants to take all the leases they have and put it into one digital billboard, and these folks lose their money and their income that they've been using for years. So and with that being said, if the billboards were to be remain where they're at, I'm going different directions here, but I still think the business should be able to advertise, if it's permitted by the city, to advertise on the billboard that could be on the same perimeter or same property that they're located on. But I just don't think the city should take on these billboards, because it's not fair to the locals that have had it for many years. And the fact that nobody got a notice about it, about this meeting, or possibly when the city council meeting, I'd like to add to this that the owners of those locations get a notice about this, but prior to the city council meeting, because going behind their backs and doing this, I just think is not fair business. And that's where I have my issues is. I understand the city wants to make money, but we have other ways of making revenue and not taking away from citizens that live here for the most part. So, just a statement I needed to make. Caltrans, have we ever looked into, I know we brought that up too last time, but some of the billboards, are they in any easements of Caltrans?
We do have one that is located in the Caltrans right-of-way. That is among one of the desired ones to be removed in the first phase of this program.
We have one that's in the
There
Caltrans
is
easement?
one. There is one in the Caltrans right-of-way, yes, that we identified that.
What site is that one?
Yes, that one is, it's on Florida and Costin. There is, right outside of, Florida and Acacia.
That's
Right
what I
on the
thought it
Florida
was,
of
yeah.
Acacia, yes.
Yeah.
So basically, the applicant could probably do this from Lamar, but I just need to know the relocation, the net, let me get the actual right verbiage here. The net relocation agreement, relocation and net relocation agreement, I would like to hear from the Lamar as to how they will approach these business owners and what they would say if I were a business owner and they come to me and saying this is what we're going to do. How can we work it out? That's my question I'll have to ask for Lamar. But any other questions for Director Monique?
I do have. One of my pollsters, October 1965, Lyndon Johnson signed into the Lady Bird Highway Beautification Act. I went and read on that, very interesting, and it had to do with federal highways. And the billboards that were increasing during that time, and cluttering up the beautiful scenic highways. And this is all across the United States. Which is why I asked for the original information from the committee that was formed on when Hemet decided no more billboards. That, I mean, I understand the years, but I really wanted the transcript on why. What was it that the meeting, there had to have been something looked into for the city of Hemet to precipitate such a stance. And I have a feeling it has to do with this concept of having stuff up in the air, and you know, that's not as pretty as the mountains, and et cetera. So if we're not having billboards, this is just my thinking out loud, and we're not adding any new ones because we don't want it, why are we adding to digital, removing, whereas it's even splashier? And all she wanted was to, when you're on the highway, and these are state highways, we're not interstates, but that was her premise at that time, was to kind of bring us back. So I really have that struggle with the original why we don't have billboards anymore and why we would throw 2 up too. You know, if we're not reducing or we don't have a number, why are we even?
And to piggyback off you is, I know there are some billboard owners that have wanted to take care of their billboards, but they were not allowed because it is basically banned. And so therefore, they're stuck. And then we have a company coming in with this new idea that wants to build digital. Meanwhile, these guys can't fix the ones that they have or update them. And good question.
So I really read up on the reason why she did what she did and how we got to where we are today. So that's really my question, is if we don't have numbers of what we're going to reduce and we're going to stick something else up, I think we kind of have to have that ratio. Are you going to take 4 down or 5 down or 10 down for every one?
Well, it seems to me the reason for doing this is to grab additional revenue for the city. I mean, we're only going to allow these on city-owned property. So the city gets revenue from this. Makes sense.
Yes, and it's good also to hear from Lamar and others on the benefits of the signage. It does provide opportunities that we don't have today currently to promote on a regional basis. There's a lot of opportunity in offering, in advertising exposure regionally. Also for community events, nonprofit organizations will also get a percentage and that this is something that Lamar would have to clarify, but that there is a certain percentage you get for nonprofit organization advertisements. Any business, no matter where they're located in the San Jacinto, Hemet San Jacinto Valley, could also have an opportunity to have their business be exposed to where people didn't know they were available, or maybe perhaps a restaurant could say tonight, this evening we have entertainment. So there's opportunities for bringing in a thriving economy in our city to also provide for our business community, and that's really one of the key core benefits of having this program.
What about the city itself?
Yes, absolutely.
Concerts in the park advertised on there, Christmas parade, right? That kind of stuff. I mean, that there would be allowances for the city to put their advertisement on there.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Does it specify how many advertisements are going to be on the digital one?
That's a great question. There is a certain number that can be done through the contracts with Lamar, and they can describe that for us. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's open up the public hearing, and we'll have Lamar come up to the podium.
Good evening. My name is Brian Smith. I'm with Lamar Advertising.
Get closer to the
Can you talk
microphone.
into the microphone?
Go higher.
There we go.
I'm taller than the mic here.
There we
I'll
go.
come down. Thank you you're going to have to ask some of these questions again. There were several of them, so I want to make sure I do get them all. We'll start with the safety aspect. The federal government has already had all these, Department of Highway Administration. They have already conducted several of the safety reviews of this, because not only are they allowed by the federal government, but they're also allowed by the state. So we are fine safety-wise. There's not a positive impact one way or another, whether there's due to accidents on freeways, on side streets, on federal highways as well. So we can provide those to the city. We have, you know, that's public information. You know, we can definitely get that information for you.
Is
before-
that on the federal transportation? Who would I would look that up on?
That would be Federal Highway Administration Act.
Mhm.
Yeah, it would be
Okay.
there. So, Lady Bird Johnson, the act. So yes. We acquired all of our signs by buying companies. So that's how we have our 10 signs. We had more back in the day. You don't build, I mean, from the mid-90s, there weren't new billboards. This isn't something that's just Hemet. This is every city in Southern California. There was enough's enough, right? And that's why you see them clustered. It was allowed by law. They put them up by law. It was wrong way of advertising. It's a picket fence. We've been working with, gosh, lots of cities in Southern California. This is how we do a better job of advertising, is by separating these out. Putting them all along Florida Avenue isn't the best way for an advertiser to get out there. We need to be in different locations. When we met with staff and an elected official at ICSC last year in Vegas, the whole point was trying to have an opportunity for local businesses to reach beyond one local corridor. And as much as I think there's an intent for more signs right now, we're only wanting 2. We need to know there's demand out there. There has to be a demand that drives more. So the ratio that we were talking about, the net reduction, we keep it that way because we want to grow into this. And we don't necessarily know where that's at until we take the pulse of advertisers. They are the ones that dictate kind of where they go, right? They're who we're listening to. And they're the ones who kind of pointed us direction where we're at now, the Don Magoni at Sanderson, as well as having one on 74. I'm hopeful that we can maybe do a couple more years down the road, but that's really demand-based. It's not something that we're pushing. We don't want signs that are not effective, not effective. What else? Height of the signs. We wouldn't want anything lower than 10 feet. I mean, these are expensive to put in. You don't want to get hit. You don't want to get, you don't want graffiti on these things. So we don't want them on the ground for sure. They're not like a monument sign where you can have them on the ground. These things you want up a little bit. You don't want them to get hit by trucks. So it really depends on the location. Are they getting deliveries? Is it a location where they might be getting deliveries? We need to have it high enough for a semi to get underneath. So it's really, I think the max height is more of the issue. I mean, minimum, sure. I mean, we want it for safety, right? We don't want these things being damaged. I know I'm missing a couple of these things. What are some of the other questions that you guys had?
Well, Monique suggested 15 to 20 feet is what we had in there before.
At a minimum?
Yeah.
That's too high. Yeah, I mean, at 20 feet high, it runs out the top of your windshield as you drive by. It needs to be lower than that. I think the 30-foot overall height is fine.
So what are you suggesting? Minimum 10
I'm
feet?
saying minimum at least 10, probably 12 in there. And that's to the display itself.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
bottom
'cause,
of
I mean, yeah,
the
'cause
bottom.
the column cover will be whatever the city decides.
Right.
That's sort of the gingerbread. How are you going to brand yourself?
Right.
And so, but we don't want the displays being hit.
Yeah.
So we want them out of the way.
So one of the other questions was, how do you make a sign ADA compliant?
I don't know what that means, actually. I mean, we may chat with Jennifer on ADA compliant. I don't know.
Okay.
I've never been asked that question before. We have a lot of them. I have 60 of these things in the Inland Empire right now. I probably have another 20 in plan check in the Inland Empire right now. So public-private partnerships are happening. It is a way to utilize unutilized property that the city has, and that's why we have either city-owned or controlled. It could be a three-party deal down the road that, let's say the third sign that we look to do, it could be a private landowner to where they're getting paid too, but the city will also get paid. So you do have to think outside the box a little bit on some of these things, but really it's going to be dictated a little bit as we go down the road by demand of the advertisers.
Mr.
Okay.
Chair, if I may answer your question real quick on the ADA compliance, I could read it. What it says, it's not that the board is going to be ADA compliant. It says that the digital outdoor advertising display shall not cause the city to be non-compliant with the ADA. So meaning, for example, it shouldn't, impede into sidewalks and that kind of thing. That's what, that's how it reads. Not the board itself is ADA
Okay.
compliant. Yeah.
Because I was a little concerned that someone could come along and say, hey, that sign is not ADA compliant.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're stuck, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah,
how
that
it
was
reads.
a first for me, so I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that one before.
Does Lamar plan on taking down all 10 of the ones they own now, currently in the city?
That's a good question. Not right away. So as we grow, I would love to see a day that we don't have any other but digital. Truthfully, I don't see that happening. I don't see, even though advertising on digital is really easy for advertisers. They can change their ads daily, hourly. It doesn't cost any more money. It just changes. It doesn't show motion. I mean, you've driven by these before. We're not a car dealership that can flash and blink. We have to show static images, and we're held to a lighting standard that car dealerships are not as well. So it's hard to paint us with the same brush because we're not run, you'd mentioned on and off premise. There is a difference. On premise signs like a car dealership, they're controlled by the local city or county that they operate in. And we not only have that, but we may, if we're on Florida, then then we have Caltrans. So we have lighting standards there.
There's no time frame on when you're going to take down any of them?
No, it would be based on the growth. Because I
Gotcha.
know that there's future, when is the 79 coming through? It
Sure.
would be lovely to grow with that, but that's pretty future. That's out there a ways.
Would you take any of them down before starting construction of the new one?
I wouldn't take them, yes and no. This goes back to some of the Caltrans stuff. If they are within a distance that impede my ability to get a new permit through Caltrans, yes, I have to have them removed out of the way. If they're within 500 feet of that, right? So, so yes, it depends on the location though,
Gotcha.
right? I mean,
Okay.
and most of the time, as long as I don't have to have the new one up, I just need a building permit for it, right? That way I know that we're all working together here.
I got you.
How would you negotiate with the partners you already have with the other 11 billboards that are here,
With my landowners.
that the landowners that
Yeah.
you're leasing on?
Yeah.
So how would you, because some of those people kind of depend on that. So how would you convince them that this is a better idea?
Well, Lamar's leases are built in such a way, if they're on Lamar paper, they're not necessarily on Lamar paper because we bought companies and acquired those leases. But we have the ability to cancel leases, as they have the ability to cancel on us, and they have. I mean, that's why you have fewer billboards in Hemet than when we started buying the companies. So many of our leases are short-term. They're month-to-month. They could be year-to-year. Some of them are very long-term. Long-term leases we're going to keep. So, that just makes it stable, right? I mean, short-term leases, they could be calling you next month asking for more money. So it just depends on,
If
right?
you're using two billboards and you have some billboards that have long-term agreements with you, how how are you gonna work that out with
If I
them?
have long-term agreements with landowners, more than likely, I would keep those leases, I would keep those locations. And I would be working more likely with leases that have a higher likelihood of being, costing the company more in time, right? Because if I'm having to pay them on a CPI, if I'm having to pay, there are different ones out there, right? So if on a short-term lease, those are likely the ones I'm gonna be looking at.
Okay, so the city could still continue with static billboards as well as digital billboards
Oh,
then?
sure, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions for the for Lamar?
No, I don't have any further questions. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so
very
much.
much. With that, any other public?
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on, good evening, Planning Commission, Chair, Commissioners. The city did go to ICSC with the intent to reduce the amount of billboards that you see. We are in current negotiations right now as we speak. The city manager and I have met with Brian multiple times now, not only to discuss the profit sharing, but to your question, Commissioner, hey, are you gonna take down 2 or 3 of them? Well, that's the goal. That's what we wanna do. If we're gonna add one electric billboard, we wanna see 2 or 3, 4 removed. That's what we're discussing with Brian and Lamar. We're very aware that those are their billboards. That's how they get their funding, but we wanna make sure that the point that we had a meeting with them last year at ICC was not only, you're right, Commissioner Dana Hill, we do wanna get revenue in the city. City Council has some big ambitions and we need revenue. That's why they passed the economic strategic plan that specifically outlines billboards, because they understand the fruitfulness of expanding, competing with our Southwest cities. And this is just one of many different nuggets that we're gonna tackle. So right now, just to your point, Commissioner Gabriel, we are, as we speak, on the discussion with how many we're going to remove and profit sharing. Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure not only is it profitable to the city, but guess what? Let's say we get 30 to 50 advertising per day. That's a small nonprofit that will never in their chance been able to afford a $300 advertising. It's on the house on the city. It's for free. That's the power of these kinds of billboards. And to your question, Commissioner Clark, right by the 5 freeway in LA County, I'm not sure if you've ever heard about the CityDel outlets. They have 8 different billboards that are like IMAX theater size. There's been a study. It did not increase any sort of traffic accidents whatsoever, and I'll be more than glad to send over to the commission so you can read on that study that it didn't really, actually, if anything, it reduced it because people got a little nervous looking at the screen, want to look straight. And these are state-of-the-art billboards. They're going to be very narrow. As long as you're able to see it by the front, you'll be able to see them. So the point is, bringing back Hemet, we're losing Blythe. Some of the billboards you've seen, they're static. They're maybe advertising. We don't want to promote 24/7, but it's all right every 8 seconds. So I want to make sure that the commissioners are aware it is to beautify our city. And again, we hope that in the next meeting that the city manager and I have with Mr. Bryan, we're able to finalize some deals. But just wanted to put it on the bigger scope so you have a better understanding on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Well, any other questions? Oh, we still have an open public hearing, so.
What was PH 14-7B again? I didn't quite catch all of that. I was hoping to clarify what that was. Test? Oh, this is... Test? Check. Ah. Thank you for turning it off before you left. Anywho, community development is essential and having the ample outreach is necessary. We need all 12. You know, maintaining a large hiring pool is essential. And even too, this idea, I mean, thank you even too for the idea of, you know, giving an extension for notice and stuff, you know. These, for some of these signs, it is someone's sign and stuff like that. And by whose standards are they not effective? Certainly, yes, there are some that are definitely localized in one area and stuff like that. But as I feel I made comment in the non-legal or legal non-conforming or whatever, you know, State and Domnagoni, that junction point is a very slow traffic stop. Sanderson and Domnagoni tends to as well. The Ramona Expressway, I have begun seeing that as well on routes to Saboba. I've only been a handful of times, but still there has been traffic in the afternoon. Down Sanderson, from through Beaumont and stuff like that, through Ramona Expressway and stuff like that. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, it's possible to have these things, and instead of clutter, I feel clutter is more so commercials that are not, approaching, are not embracing the ethos of community development. So like event centers make sense, community outreach makes sense. Local businesses, I would give that too. I don't think a franchise like Dave's Hot Chicken needs advertisement, They make already something like, or you have to be like a net worth of $2.5 million, like to be able to begin having the negotiations for that franchise. And so, yeah, if we had 24/7 public transit, there would be less need for this fear of distraction, because some citizens are just riding the bus, and there's that advertisement for the vaccination outreach, or the local food drive, or the beautify Hammett. Let's all do our part and just pick up a little trash on one day or something like that. But we know that individuals recycling and reusing and reducing still does nothing to address climate change and plastic pollution and carbon consumption. Ooh, I am going off on a tangent. Someone visiting is likely to not read signs. Timers placed on stoplights have been shown to encourage patience. Shall not exceed 240 square feet per panel. An IMAX screen? We just need 12 signs, and they don't have to be that large, but definitely we could equitably distribute them to where everyone is aware of what's going on in the city, is aware of what local businesses they could possibly apply to and stuff like that. Because I've been here for 32 years, a billion seconds. 8 of those years have been in Riverside. The rest has been here. I've gotten travel and stuff like that, and there are other modes of being. But that can't happen without outreach. We need all 12 signs.
Thank you. I kind of have just one question for Monique. What is your approach to the one, I'm just going to say it, the one that's not Lamar owned? What is, are you guys' intention is to have them dismantle the sign? Because I know it's not a Lamar one, so that one's completely not a part of the Lamar concept.
Yeah, so no, there would be no requirement to change what's there now. It's a legal non-conforming sign. In addition, the property owner is still entitled to their signage allowances for the commercial property, so they can still have the on-site commercial signage allowances for the commercial zone. And the non-conforming billboard that is there now, there's nothing they would need to do at this time. There's
Okay.
no requirements for them.
Any other questions?
I have no
Okay,
further
okay.
questions for the applicant or Monique.
Thank you. We're going to close the public hearing and make a recommendation. And I would like to include in that recommendation that the property owners receive a letter before council meeting in case they want to have a comment to make.
Yeah. I also want to stipulate that I realize that Lamar wants to put these signs in different locations to get a read on the advertising, but I live in this city and I don't want to see these signs outside the Florida corridor. I really don't. And the one at Dominagoni and Sanderson, I would not recommend at all. I would take that off the map. I think we could put 2 digital signs on Florida and be just fine with that, with opposite ends of the corridor there within the city, or whatever. I think another plan could be put in place that would give the same kind of read on advertising. I mean, let's face it, Florida is the main street of Hemet. So,
I agree.
I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Here's my opinion. If you're going to put 2 signs up, then all the rest of them that are owned by the company need to come down, not the private one, because that is a different entity. If we are removing the blight of the old static signs, then we have to have something to show for it. The public's not going to say, you put that up and there's still 10 more over here. One proposed is right on 5, 6, 7, 8. Those have got to go. You can't have those there.
Yeah, especially if we're within 500 feet.
Right, and the whole thing is the scenic beautification.
To
So
declutter.
that's my recommendation, and I agree with him. I don't want to see it on Dominagoni. I think part of my whole scenario of coming home from work and kind of decompressing, when they come on Dominagoni, that's what that's about, is it's 20 minutes of someone's life where they just enjoy the sceneries, kind of decompress and that sort of thing. I don't see the need of that, but that's those 2 are my recommendations.
Yeah, and, you know, it's not gonna stop at these 2, and if we, you know, if Dominagoni is allowed to go forward, then it's not gonna be the last one on Dominagoni. And, anyway,
Yeah.
so that would be my recommendation.
I definitely agree with Ms. Clark here. According to this here, it says that Hemet Rises, it includes the replacement of traditional billboards. I think that we got to figure out what the ratio is first, because there's no point of, because I know there's still negotiations with the city manager. There's no point of allowing to build a new one if it's not doing what Hemet Rises is supposed to, which is replace the replace the older ones. I would like to see what the ratio would be when that comes up.
Correct. We would like to know where they were proposed sites are, not just where the sites are located. But yeah, I think we can make a recommendation and amend in the recommendation to, that the property owners get notified prior to the council meeting, and that we do not want number 2 on Dominagoni, that keep it on the Florida Avenue corridor. And anything else I'm missing in the amendment?
I think the billboards, when a building is going to go up, one of these digital, we need that ratio to immediately have
A reduction.
them, a reduction, start.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole point is they propose to declutter.
That's,
Yes.
well,
You know,
and that's
exactly.
that's it, yeah. That's mine.
Okay, may I have a recommendation?
Okay, I'll make a recommendation
Oh,
here.
and to make the minimum sign 10 feet from the ground.
Yes. Oh, good catch. All right. Let's see here. I'll make a recommendation from the Planning Commission to receive and consider the staff report and attached documentation related to the proposed zoning ordinance amendment number 2025-001 and adopt the Planning Commission resolution recommending that the City Council adopt zoning ordinance amendment number 25-001 to amend Chapter 90, Article 36, signs, to permit reduction and relocation of existing static outdoor advertising displays under limit circumstances, and to further amend sections of Hemet Municipal Code to harmonize current sections of with such reduction and relocation language. And 3, find the project is categorically exempt from CEQA in accordance with CEQA guidelines, section 15061B3, the common sense exemption, as it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that the proposed ordinance may have a significant effect on the environment. And 4, that it be restricted to the Florida Avenue corridor. 5, that the existing signage owners are notified in writing before the next city council meeting votes on this recommendation. And 6, that the minimum height be 10 feet.
Did we talk about having the reduction?
Oh. And 7, that when the electronic billboard signage is erected, that there is a ratio reduction of the existing static signs.
I second that.
Okay, we don't know the actual number or ratio. Okay, so that could just be brought up. Okay, and do we have a second to that?
Yeah, I second.
Okay.
Commissioners, please announce your vote. Commissioner Viramontes?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Chair Beamsterfer?
Yes.
And that motion carries 4-0.
Okay, agenda 8A is the work study item for a proposed downtown kitchen grant incentive program. Economic Development Director Ben Sandoval.
Alrighty, well, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, today is I'm going to be presenting to you a draft of the Downtown Kitchen Grant. It really aligns with the Hemet Economic Development Strategic Plan that Council approved here in August, and it's really set up to bring investment in our downtown, to bring nightlife. I'm not sure if some of you were able to attend this past Saturday, the pop-up food truck event that we had. What a turnout. We had over 500 people there plus, and we plan to continue that for another 7 weeks. So what does that tell you? That people are hungry to be in our downtown. They're hungry to spend their money here and not outside. So these types of grants helps us stop the leakages and bring investment today, not next year. So with that further ado, this is the Downtown Kitchen Grant. Bear with me as I get this PowerPoint. Great. And what's great is we were just here earlier today from 2 to 5, and guess what? Where I was standing at, we had 11 entrepreneurs present on their business plan. And the future of Hemet looks bright, folks. These are innovators, entrepreneurs that want to start their business here in the Valley, not in Marietta, not in Temecula or in LA County, but here in Hemet. So we owe them as the city to put skin in the game to be able to bring these types of businesses. So part of the strategic plan, not the business economic plan, but the city strategic plan, of the 5 categories, we meet 4 of the 5 with this particular grant. If you were to ask me, I think I should have put it on organizational effectiveness to meet all 5, but it really is going to touch on quality of life, partnerships, community engagement, and more importantly, economic opportunity, not just for the city, but for businesses. All right, moving on here for the purpose. Here in the city of Hemet, for some of the commissioners, I'm sure you're aware, but 97.3% of our businesses are small businesses, 0 to 20, folks. We don't have these conglomerate organizations that are making $500 billion a year. We don't have those type of businesses. We have the small mom and pop. So we owe it to them to be able to be creative and do these types of programs. So what's the purpose? It truly is to revitalize our downtown. If you were to ask me, and it's something that I discussed with quite a few people, when was the last time someone really said, I'm going to come to downtown Hemet to explore? When was the last time that Hemet had a downtown that you really felt, wow, this is it? I'm going to be here all Saturday night here. On average, the average person on a weekend here in Hemet spends about 38 minutes per day. 38 minutes. You go to Temecula, 2 hours and 46 minutes. Do you see the difference? That is massive. That's 2 hours and 10 minutes that we're losing on revenue. There's a $2.2 billion leakage too that we're losing every single year here in the San Jacinto Valley. So we're looking to revitalize our downtown, stimulate economic growth, enhance the quality of life. We saw that this past Saturday through the food trucks. Also preserve local character. This is not meant for these big conglomerates. We want to build small mom and pops. Just like today, we had 11 entrepreneurs. Let us help you scale up. Now, this grant is going to ask for some business plan items that you've been in business for a few years, because it is a big investment in the city. But we're not asking for you to come in with capital of $50 million. We're just asking just for a few and 20% skin of the game. And more importantly, we want to promote local ecosystem. Right now, we're all sharing the same dollar for the most part. I buy food, that person buys gas, and we're just exchanging the same dollar here in Hemet. We need to bring outside investment so we have new dollars being invested in our valley, because right now, again, folks, I believe over 80% of our dollars we're just exchanging within the valley. It's all being exchanged. We need to bring that down to 40%, where the other 60% comes out from outside investment. The grant overview is, I'll skim through it pretty quickly because I know we're probably short, but actually we're good with time, actually. So strategic initiative designed to, again, revitalize the heart of Hemet. People have a sense of place, community pride. As we're going through rebranding, this is another big item, downtown. And as part of the strategic plan, I'm sure you've already probably seen a community garden. This perfectly aligns. Imagine you have dinner, you have a drink, and you go sit down at a community park. Here in downtown, you're here for at least 3 hours. And it seeks to create a dynamic, diverse food scene. We want to bring in different types of restaurants, not just your fast food, but a dining experience, an experience. It really has changed, even down to liquor stores. When people want an experience because there's social media, you're going to tag, hashtag. That's what we want. Right now, we're getting the hashtags for the wrong reasons. We need to change them for the right reasons. And it's going to create new employment opportunities. We want to bring investment, employment. We do have a lot of individuals. Over 30% of our population commutes 45 minutes and out one way. We need to bring that down a little bit where employment opportunities are here. Vallarta Market, for example, was able to hire all locals in the San Jacinto Valley. We want to make sure that these types of programs are available to our local residents. Moving on here, we have a couple examples of what the kitchen grant could potentially look like or what the expenditures are, and I'll go over what some of those costs are. But one of the biggest things for a restaurant investment is the kitchen. And obviously, why would a business start up a business without having funding for a kitchen? Well, it's quite simple. These are tough, challenging times for a lot of businesses, especially mom and pop. But they have a great idea. They're selling great. They probably have 100,000 followers on Instagram or social media. They just don't have the capital. They need the extra 10,000, 20. Maybe they've been trying to find angel investors. They can't. Well, hopefully this grant can subsidize some of that to bring in the steakhouses, bring in the Italian restaurants. You can name it. I mean, all kinds of different sectors that we can bring in the food sector. Moving on here. Council did allocate $300,000 for the downtown kitchen grant in the 24-25 fiscal year. 25-26, I put a question mark depending on how successful this is, and if our great city manager, Mr. Mark Presswidge, would like to take it on forward again, we might be able to add more. But we want to see how it goes the first time around. We don't want to put all of our eggs in one basket and keep putting money in there. Let's first see how it goes and be able to take the next steps accordingly. Some of the grant program eligibility, in order to qualify, as I mentioned, as much as we would like to have it open for everyone, and we do, there are simple criteria that you would have to be able to meet. We want a detailed business plan. We want to know that you've thought about this. You have investors. You have a plan if you were to fail. What was it? I believe in the first 5 years, over 70% of businesses fail. We want to make sure that you've experienced failure. Failure is success. You hit rock bottom. You know how to come back up. That's the kind of business we're looking for. You know what it takes. We're also looking for a detailed budget and a cost breakdown of all the items you're looking for, along with supporting documentation. We want to make sure there's a business license application, and they're in good standing through GoBiz as well. Lease agreements and proof of insurance. Financial statements is key. Again, we want to make sure that they have capital in there, not just $0 to their name. They have a great idea, and then they close down in a year, and then we made all that investment. and more importantly, located in our downtown specific plan. We want to bring in the nightlife. We want to bring in experiences to our downtown where people say, wow, I'm sure we visited some of our southwest cities where they're doing a great job. Well, we don't want to replicate that. We want to do better because we can. We really can, folks. We're bringing a different type of diversity to this valley. 20 years ago, had you told me, hey, what's the median age in our city of Hemet? We were over 50, folks. 50. Today, 39.3. 39.3. We're still one of the highest in age population in Riverside County. I think Riverside County as a whole is 35 point something. So we're in the next 5 years, we're also going to be bringing down our age to about 37.5. That's big because as one of the investors told me, with young families, you have chaos. What I mean by that, you're going to soccer practice, you're going to baseball practice, you're getting drive-through, where we have currently, I know a lot of people ask me, why aren't you bringing in the Costcos, the Chick-fil-A's, the big dogs, Well, there's variables. There's variables that we need to meet. There's medium household wages we need to meet. And there's some neighborhoods that we have here, maybe just go out once a week, maybe spend $10, $20, and that's it. That's what we're getting. So we need to be creative in bringing the right type of businesses, scaling those, and in future, we will be able to compete with our stronger Southwest cities. But again, it starts now because if we don't plant the seeds now, folks, it's going to be much harder the next 5 years, especially with artificial intelligence. We have new generation that's going to be getting into the workforce. We have outside competitions, and I say these jokingly, but in a good way. We have baby boomers that are not retiring, so the workforce is really tight right now, and we need to stay competitive. So these types of programs allow us to be competitive. And yes, Hemet does need to be competitive and offer these types of incentives because we are not luxury to have a freebie next to us. And that is a big deal for a lot of investors. So we need to have skin in the game, and these types of programs allow us to have that. Moving forward here's the downtown specific plan on where we plan to have some of these businesses. We're hoping that there are on Harvard Street, or again, the heart. But as you can see here, this map, if I'm looking at this map 5 years from now, it's going to look different. We have investment coming in now. We have seeds that we planted. So 5 years from now, this is going to look much different, but in a better way. In a way that we're no longer enclosed, known as a retirement committee, but a business-friendly city. That's key. If we don't promote that now, folks, developers talk to one another. They talk to each other. They're not talking about sports games. They're not talking about the NFL game. They're talking about how was the city of Hemet on your entitlement process. Was it good? Oh, it was amazing. Go there. That is how we need to become, because they do talk to each other, folks. I promise you. Time is money, and, the stock market is iffy. They talk, and that's one of the big things. Is the city business friendly? Because if they're not, folks, we're just probably going to be turning into a ghost town, Route 66, and that's the last thing we want, because Hemet is back. Eligible items. Here's the things that we want to make sure mea culpa, I guess the first point is a detailed business plan. That was part of the other previous slide. But we want to make sure they invest in kitchen equipment, infrastructure, an oven, high volume refrigerator, a commercial dishwasher. You can kind of see there, walk-in freezer, all of the stuff that's going to get them going to start and invest in our city, because it is very challenging trying to get investment right now in this day of economy. But it's not impossible. It is not impossible. It is possible. Moving forward here, some of the program procedural steps. We are going to take your recommendations. Of course, that's why we're here. We want to hear from you exactly what you think, so we're able to fine-tune it and be able to present it to council. But we are going to be able, if all goes well, open up the application here sometime in the summertime, review eligibility, do property inspection, make sure the property exists, how does it look like? Maybe they already have a kitchen and they're trying to pull a fast one on us. Well, we want to make sure that's not the case, so we are going to be doing a building inspection with our building official, Javier Nolasco. Then we're going to get some contractual selections. award the grant, and then construction starts and a reimbursement. We do have it under the grant that it is an 18-month project, so we are hoping to have all of these once awarded. You have 18 months to fulfill these. Apologies. 18 months to finish the project, along with putting skin at the game on their end. 20% on their end will have to be matched in order to qualify. If you cannot provide the 20% match, unfortunately, you will not qualify for the program. This helps us to know, well, if it's $300,000, they're putting X amount of thousands of dollars. Well, that's a big amount, folks. So what that tells us their skin of the game, and along with providing all of their business plan, budget plans, we will be able to move that forward and be able to present that here. So the overall aspect of this grant is to bring in investment to our community, quality of life, and stop leakages. I'm guilty as charged, and some of us are here as well. It's a Saturday night. You want to go out for a nice restaurant. Holy smokes, where am I going to go? You leave elsewhere. I'm sure you probably not nod your heads here because you're on Planning Commission, but there are times where we've left this particular area to go out there. Let's stop that. Let's keep it in-house. So we're thinking of different creative ideas. We have Hemet AM. We just had the Fast Piss competition. We have many things happening, but it takes innovation in order to get there. And if one thing that I learned from the HEMIC Economic Summit that we had, and it was a sold out group, 250 people were attended. We got, guess what's in Riverside County? High wages. More people with high wages are moving in, and more people with lower wages are moving out of Riverside County, where in San Bernardino County, it's the opposite. People with higher wages are moving out, and people with lower wages are moving in. So we need to keep up with that type of investment, the type of population, and we are changing, folks. By 2050, here in Hemet, according to Riverside County, believe I read 70% of our population, or 80, will be Latinos here in Hemet. It's changing drastically compared to what it was 100 years ago. So we need to prepare for that and be ready for what's to happen. So thank you. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ben Sandoval. Does commissioners have any questions for Mr. Sandoval?
So it looks like it's a reimbursement of invoices.
Yes.
And then a payment of 20%. Does that 20% come before or after the project?
That is a great question. So we would need that up front, so we know there's a commitment on their end. So the 20% would be up front. And then depending on the reimbursement, I know 300,000 or 100 might be a lot of upfront. So we can work with the applicant in reimbursement of payments of up to 3 different payments in order to work with, similar to the commercial facade improvement program that the commission gratefully acknowledged and passed.
Gotcha.
No, great question, Commissioner Gabriel.
Sweet. This might be off topic, but is the city going to do anything to, like, add these lights to downtown to make it more appealing for those restaurants? Not just the restaurants themselves, but, you know, make it more lively?
That's a touchdown. The Raiders win the Super Bowl, and that's probably never going to happen in my lifetime. I mean that facetiously because that is true. We are, with the commercial facade improvement program that just passed, 250,000 is going to downtown. Some of our business owners have submitted items that are aesthetically pleasing, such as murals. Your great suggestion, Commissioner, with some lighting here on top, similar to some of the cities out in the on the desert. You see Rancho Mirage, for example, Palm Springs. What a beautiful area! You're walking down the streets. Not only do you have lights, but you have some cool water misters to cool you off. You know. We're going to get there. It does take investment, community benefits, but the fact that we're acknowledging the community benefits, I do foresee, Commissioner, in the next 5 years that happening in our downtown.
And also, it says all applicants get building and planning fees waived. How much does that cost the city?
Yeah, so for the applicant, if they were to able to move, let's just say we have 300,000 and 2 or 3 were selected, permitting fees would be waived, and they would range, and I would probably relate to the community development director, but based on some of the homework, it would be in the 10 to 20,000, give or take, permitting fee range. It could be a little lower, depending on how much work they're going to be doing, what type of work we'll be doing, but some of those events, some of the pricing that would include some of the permitting fees.
And that does not come out of the 300,000.
That is correct. That would be
Okay.
in addition to
Okay.
that one. But that's we didn't want to take it away from from the actual price. But great question, Commissioner.
I'm good.
Well, you knew I'd have some.
Of course,
Okay.
great. Please.
Okay. First of all,
Yes.
in my history,
Yes, ma'am.
they have in the city of Eureka a jazz festival. And during that weekend, all of the restaurants down in the Old Town area open up, and you buy tickets and you go to the different restaurants. They have certain things, you give them the ticket, they give what their specialty is. It is in conjunction with the jazz festival down in Old Town.
Yes.
You might want to ask these folks to participate during the Ramona.
That's a
Just
great,
saying.
great suggestion, Commissioner, and getting, so you're recommending reaching out to our local downtown businesses.
And
to
any new ones.
part-
And put that seed in their brains. If we're doing this, we're investing in you. What if we have something like this come up?
Mhm.
We would really like to, especially if you're getting city money
Yes, ma'am.
from us, we would like to see you participate, at least in the first year. That I was finding for most of, because my husband was the Old Town Bike Cop, and they would do their specialty. Yo Mama's, oh my goodness, the jerk chicken that they gave, it was awesome, okay? That's what I'm talking about in a community. First of all, your application intake, they need to show you that they have already taken the food handler certificate course and have a valid one. That's going to tell you whether or not they're interested because they've already looked into all the proper procedures for the kitchens.
Thank you.
Okay? Second of all, I would highly suggest that with with our Old Town area, we know we have problem down there.
Yes, ma'am.
So your initial inspection, I would require the applicant and the property owner to participate in that property inspection. It's probably not going to be the same person. And the follow-up would require both of them to attend also. Everyone's on the same page. Nobody, has, gee, I didn't know about that. And fire, public safety, the floor plan needs to be decided upon before the grant, because it's going to show you their layout. And that's another indication that they are really, really invested. And you're going to know where all of your plugs are and where your tables are going to be, and it's going to give the city an idea on what this restaurant's going to look like. And when you have your business plan and everything, that's all fine and dandy. You got
Yes.
pretty words. But if you've got that certificate of occupancy diagram already set up, it can change, but it will give you a vision of what they want it to look like. Because you can't get a business
Yes, ma'am.
permit for that. And finally, the applicant's responsibilities, property tax, what is our timeline? Say the property tax is not current and they make it current. What if they make it current in 2 years? Is this grant still going, are they going to have to reapply? Nothing is being spoken to about
Yes.
timing and what your responsibility and what time you got to pay a property tax. We want it done immediately, within 6 months, before the grant, the whole thing. You're going to have to spell it out because there are too many people down in downtown that have their own agendas, and the city has to have the agenda, and that is
Agree on that one,
revitalization,
Commissioner. And
period.
all your points have been taken with great knowledge and wealth. These are great points. I like the festival participation
Yep.
with the Ramona Bowl.
Right.
food handler's card really lets you know what you're speaking. You're in the industry. You've
Right.
been in the industry for a few years. I might even ask him, how many years have you had your food handler's card?
You can only,
Initial.
it's every 2 years. It
Every-
has to be evaluated
great.
every 2 years.
Thank you for that, Commissioner. On every 2 years, initiate property inspections with the two individuals I mentioned, property owner and the person that wants to open up the restaurant. Solidified floor plan. I like that. Right before we invest that, hey, this is what it's going to be looking like. We want to have examples, maybe some imagery. Who knows? And last but not least, the property tax portion. Again, our goal is, if this, with your recommendations and council's approval, opening up the application process the following week, having it open for 60 days or 30 days, and then from there, awarding the grantee within a month or two. And then they'll have 18 months from there to finish. But all of your points, Commissioner Clark, have been noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
You good?
I'm good. You good?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for bringing this presentation. This is very
Thank you,
exciting.
Commissioner Hill.
We've been asking for something like this for a while. And
I
this
truly
is
appreciate
very
the kind
exciting to
words.
see, actually.
Thank you.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
How much of the 300K budget goes to an applicant? Is it it seems like it's not going to go very far.
Yeah.
Look at the picture of the
point.
kitchen and that equipment you put up there. It looks like that kitchen could cost 300K.
Just a refrigerator alone.
A good point. Maybe even the ice chest would be 300,000, and that's a good point, Commissioner, because we are aware of that. Our goal would be to spread the love to as many applicants as we have. But at the end of the day, we have 300,000 at 100,000. Our piece is our goal. So each applicant receiving up to 100,000. But if you see in the grant application, the guidelines on my end, it is flexible that we could award the 300,000 to one awardee if everything makes sense. It's the best plan. Wow, this is the one we've been waiting for. We're looking at 6-hour wait time every night. We will probably award the full amount on that
Okay.
one. Yes.
So it's dependent.
It is very depending, whereas a commercial facade, it was very strict in
Yeah.
regards to the micro, macro, X
Yeah.
amount. This one was purposely left kind of flexible so we can see who's going to apply, what type of, because it can be outside investment coming in, so that we kind of left it open.
I would think this is going to be very popular.
Your words to the applicant's ears.
Yeah. So you say reimbursement. That kind of caught me by surprise because
Okay.
this is a grant. If I remember right, I thought grants were like,
It's upfront, yes.
and this is an upfront grant that needs to be repaid?
We would be repaying so how it's written right now, but that's why we came forth to you today to get some of your feedback. How it's set up right now, Commissioner, it would be on a reimbursement process. We're aware it's a pretty steep amount. Were you thinking of something else in regards to the funding, more up front, or what were you thinking, Commissioner?
The
on
grant
that?
is a grant. It's kind of like you get 100K, that's it. It's yours.
And that's what we're hoping.
If I go out of business, am I going to be stuck with the $100,000 bill?
Yeah,
I know
for-
that you're trying to screen these people
Yes.
and then make sure that they've got a solid investment and a solid plan.
Yes, sir.
But what happens if it doesn't work out? I would hate. If I was an applicant and you're telling me this and I have to reimburse you, at the back of my mind, I'm going, wow.
Chair,
Okay.
Commissioner, can I just clarify? I just want to make sure we're all understanding what the reimbursement procedures meaning. It means that the restaurant owner would upfront the costs, and the city would reimburse them.
Oh,
for
that's
for
the 100K.
amount. Yes.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry.
not the way it came across.
Well, how did it come across that? I'm kind of curious now.
You get 100K and then you have to pay it back. It's almost like a
Oh,
loan.
no. I was getting confused on that one. No, it is a grant. We're just reimbursing in increments.
Gotcha.
I
Thank
get
you.
what you're saying. Thank you,
Okay.
Community Development Director, for the nice save there, nice assist.
Thank you.
But definitely no, we want to give the money out, but it's just on reimbursement, so we know they're finishing the project and it's coming along.
Okay, gotcha. One of the things I wanted to make you aware of
Yes.
is When we went to the Planning Commissioners Academy in Santa Rosa here recently, this was talked about by, this was featured, and one of the approaches that the city took, that this city that was featured took, is they closed a lane, like on Florida Avenue downtown. They would close the lane next to the curb on each side, therefore choking the traffic in that downtown district, so that you would drive slower and smell the restaurants and stuff like that, and beautified the sidewalk area. They also allowed restaurants to put tables out towards the street, and and do that kind of thing with umbrellas and things like that. So you get that dining experience right there on the sidewalk. And they said it was a huge success. Huge success.
And I just want to say that the commission is in store for a treat for the 25-26 fiscal year. The types of events that economic development is already planning, I don't want to say too much, but we already have about 13 of them for the 25-26 fiscal year, and you're going to be off the charts. I'll just give one since we're here now. One of them is a restaurant week, working with our downtown businesses, similar how you see in San Diego, the Gaslamp district.
Mhm.
Everyone's out. Everyone has the outside dining table. So working with our planning department to be able to have outside dining experience for the weekend, for example. But that is something we are brewing on top of other events that we have happening. But that is a great suggestion, Commissioner.
Yeah, I don't know if we would do it permanently at this point, but
Good
maybe maybe on a Saturday night or something like that. Or I don't
You
know.
nailed it. And that's what we want, because, we did a survey on social media, surveying. We opened it up, hey, what would you like to see in our city? What's something that we're lacking? Downtown was one of the biggest things that came up. Our downtown life. There's none. How do we get something where I can go on the weekend, take my significant other or the family, walk, dine, shop, play, eat? We want to make that so. So just be aware, we feel that this types of grant allow us, and I mentioned earlier why I bring that up right now for the third time. We had 11 entrepreneurs. They're all young. And we had one as young as 18 years old. And one thing that she had said that kind of stuck in my head is we hope that we can one day fully open our business here, dine, shop, get married, have a house, kids, everything. And as a city, we need to stay on top of it, folks, because our Southwest cities are really popping up heavy. So these types of grants, Commissioner, allow us, and we do plan to have this next fiscal year an outside dining experience for everyone to enjoy.
Good. Again, thank you so much.
Thank
This is
you,
great.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Hill. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Ben Sandoval.
Always a pleasure, Chair.
I have to say, you have done a fantastic job.
Thank you for
And
saying that.
Trying to with the Chick-fil-A, with getting groups together, trying to recruit businesses here, Miguel's Jr., trying to recruit them in, and
Yes,
other
yes.
businesses.
We're working on Miguel's Jr., Commissioner. Trust me on that one. We're gonna get them one day. You'll be the one cutting the ribbon cutting.
And one of the things is downtown is something that, a lot of us commissioners have had our eyes on, and we know a lot of some of the buildings are not necessarily up to code, and they would be great restaurants if they were fixed. And, but one thing I want to kind of expand on too as well is, as a longtime local, we call it the hall, but our mall is slowly becoming empty. And I don't know if, that would be a great location central for restaurants and places like that. Has the parking, has the adequate parking to handle the volume. But I think another thing to look into is our mall, because we definitely need to do something with that. It's a large empty space there.
And Chair, I would like to just let you know that I have met with the mall probably 7 times. As of right now, it is for sale. I've actually met with the potential new buyer of the mall. That's public knowledge if it's for sale. All cities that have malls are experiencing this dilemma. It doesn't matter if you're Temecula. Every city's experience. What do we do with our malls? And quite honestly, it's getting a developer that believes in ecosystems, where you have the second, third floor of some condominiums. We bring in younger families, and the bottom floor is where you work out, you buy, and all that. So that is in the conversation as we speak, because we
Very
do feel that the mall is our touchdown place, but every city is experiencing, we're no different than, even LA County, Cerritos, where I came from, before I came to the city of Hemet. We were running to the same problem, Cerritos, right next to Cerritos Auto Square, that's Cerritos Mall. And they're hurting as well, but they were thinking of bringing it up to 5 floors with townhomes. So that, again, will be a big thing for us because we get affordable housing, people can purchase a condo, build equity, and more importantly, build that generational wealth.
Well, I appreciate it. I do know an owner that I'll have to reach out and let him know about this grant.
Yes.
Because he used to be a former owner of Duke Steakhouse, and
Oh,
he's
okay.
looking to come back to Hemet to open up. And he's a very smart businessman, and he knows how to make good food and bring good crowd. And he's actively looking right now as we speak
go.
for downtown. Yeah, I know he's great food.
Have them CB chair, please.
So, but yeah, I'll definitely let him know he wants to do kind of bar food kind of thing like he had before, live bands, and you know
Yes.
that's the thing that we really need to bring back to downtown is these live bands and band nights, because live music brings people, and we need to start doing a little bit more of that downtown as well and get them down there. But I'm excited about food. We need a lot of food in downtown, so and make it look a little better than it is now. So, any other comments to Mr. Ben Sandoval?
Yeah, going back real quick to Connie or to Mrs. Clark's remark on the food thing, where make them require. So, she brought up Eureka. I went to Humboldt State. I graduated from
Okay.
there. Yeah,
Nice.
it's actually a burger week, and every restaurant participates in this burger week, so to speak. And then the community gets to vote on. Doesn't matter if they're Mexican food, Mediterranean food.
Uh-huh.
And then the city gets to vote, and then they get a really nice, or the people get a vote, and they get a really nice plaque, and it says like best burger in Eureka or best burger in Hemet. And so then now, even then, there was a couple
Bless
of
you.
restaurants that added burgers to their menus because of how good they were, even though they weren't a burger place. So we would go back to these restaurants we would never go to because their burger was so good, and they're all kind of different. It's a whole event we'd have to do, but
Yes.
if you have whoever applies for this be a part of that, now you have 3-4 restaurants in downtown where people should go try. Yeah,
I agree.
They would even do a chili cook-off.
yeah.
Oh,
Anybody that
nice.
had a chili recipe, these restaurants would, and service clubs, and they were all, and everybody would vote for it. That was our downtown for Fortuna.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So, but I think that the city of Eureka, what they would do on Saturday, the first Saturday of every month, it was called Arts Alive. And all the downtown businesses would be open. Local artists would show their art in different locations. Everybody would walk around. It was, especially before Christmas and Thanksgiving, very festive. But the jazz festival was in conjunction with that, and you all just went around and did this. And I'll tell you, the food
Was amazing.
really unique.
I like that. And your comments, again, have been taken with, we're great, pleased, and I've taken down the plaque. That is having a plaque, being able to showcase that, hey, I was Restaurant of the Week or Best Burger of Hemet, goes a long way, Commissioner. So that's a great one as we're thinking of having that event next fiscal year, which is just around the corner, actually. We will be able to do something like that. But thank you for the recommendation.
So Ben, just one more quick question. Executing the grant. So this is the third grant that's come to the table that I've been on.
Yes.
And so far, the first 2 have not even been executed yet. And it's been a year and a half for the first one. So in the FAK grant, haven't heard anything about that. We picked the committee, we picked the 2 people that are gonna be on it. Nothing's happened there. So with your grant and the city council gives you the green light, how fast are you gonna execute this and get this moving?
This one is a little more feasible in regards to the commercial facade improvement program. There isn't that many moving parts, or we do foresee this one moving much, much quicker than I'm not sure if referring to the trash enclosure and the commercial
Trash
facade.
enclosure and the
Yeah.
FAK grant,
Yeah,
both.
I'm not sure if you receive any updates on those particular ones, but the trash enclosure, we are working with different developers. The price came a little higher than we had anticipated. You know, the grant was for 20,000. Some of the quotes that we received were in the upwards of 125,000 per trash enclosure. So in order for it to be appeasable on the amount of funding we have available for the trash enclosure, we are working to bring that down to about the 40 mark. We haven't found that person yet, but we're hoping we have one that's there. Regarding the commercial facade improvement program, that's already done. It's just a matter of us meeting with our city manager, Mr. Mark Presswich, who I believe is scheduled 2 or 3 weeks from today or less. And then from there, we will be able to get direction on when to meet with the 2 ad hoc members. But we do want, per the city manager, he would like to move that forward this fiscal year with meeting with the ad hoc.
Okay.
So it would be the next month or so.
I do believe it would move faster since the restaurants are required to basically front the money. They're going to want to move as quick as possible to get that reimbursement.
It's a good point, Commissioner. We're hoping that's the case on that one, and to go from there. But we're aware that people need to have these grants, and we are moving as quickly as possible as we can with the staff that we have. Economic development has gone really popular the past year. A lot of calls coming in, so we are trying our very best to maintain the requests that we're getting. But we're trying our best, Commissioners. Rest assured. Thank you. But I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Go for it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Receive and file, right?
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 9A, City Attorney Reports. And you are not Leo Suarez.
No, but thank you, Mr. Chair. I wasn't necessarily prepared, but I did actually talk for this specific item. I think it's where she kind of updates you on maybe some new laws and things like that. But I did have a chance to talk with her, and I thought if it was of interest to the commission, maybe to have like a quick primer, not necessarily this evening, but a quick primer on like the public hearing process or something that might not be super new, but just a primer on something like that that's procedural. If that's of interest to the commission, I could bring that back to her, and we can't take a vote on it. It's not on the agenda or anything like that. But that's something that I had thought of and I had done in the past with prior planning commissions.
I think any piece of education coming from the city attorney will be helpful.
Right.
You got it. Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Agreed.
Item 9B, Community Development Reports. Director Monique.
Thank you, Chair. I have nothing to report.
Okay, well, item 9C, future agenda items.
We have 2 items coming to the commission in the next month. ARCO AM/PM, which was an approved site development review, are requesting to make some modifications to the site configuration. So they'll be coming back with that proposal, as well as a conditional use permit for La Perla Market, who wishes to upgrade their ABC license and market.
Thank you. Is that the ARCO on Sapoba in Florida?
Yes.
Welcome. All right. Item 9D, Planning Commission reports.
Commissioner Viramontes.
I have nothing to report except that this is my first meeting. I'm excited. Yeah, pretty cool things that are coming out of Hemet. Very excited for the restaurant grant. Excited to see the downtown kind of develop. Yeah, grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you. Welcome. Commissioner Clark.
It's nice to have numbers in the Humboldt State. We outnumber y'all.
We're a polytech now.
No,
We're
not when I
Polytech.
went.
Oh, yeah, me either, me either.
Okay.
Still.
But I'm really glad to have you even more so now that I know that. Do we know about H&H Plastics? Where are we?
That was one of my.
Yes, there has been an update. The applicant met with the city, with their design team, to clarify a few items which was creating a delay. However, they have incorporated their engineer to make sure that engineering has everything they need so that they can pull a permit for grading. Yes.
Okay, do we know when the pull the permit will be?
So what they did is they did extend the building permit on it. However, they would have to have the permits issued within the next 6 months. I anticipate that the permit would be issued within at least the next month, based on the conversations and in-person meetings that we had collectively as a team.
Well, I'm really worried for them, and I would like to request that until he pulls his permit, that we have a community development, that be an agenda item that you bring us up to speed on, because there is no person in this world that should be begging us. And to work with the community, what he was saying about, you know, the city of Hemet, when I volunteered in the business, or excuse me, in the building permit department, that was what they said: don't do business with City Hemet. And that was back in 2018. So here's H&H, and he is that guy. I just,
He has a patient job.
yeah, oh my gosh. And ask my husband if I had been like, oh my God, it would have been Mount Vesuvius. You know, and that, he was just so, he genuinely wants to be part of the city of Hemet. So I would request that until he pulls his permit, and then all of us get to go and break ground with him. I'll help him. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, of course, thank you. Commissioner Hill?
Thank you. I have nothing to report, thanks.
And Chair Beamsterfer?
Well, first of all, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Montes.
Viramontes.
Well, welcome
Yeah.
aboard.
Thank you.
And I'm going to also kind of reflect off of Commissioner Clark again about the plastics. I agree. We should just be kept up until it is done. You know, every meeting, just let us know about this plastic guy. It's been 5 years, right? 5 years for the guy. So, I mean, that's enough waiting time. I went to the food trucks on Saturday. That was good. I had a vegan mac and cheese egg roll on one truck, and I had a Cuban chicken empanada, and then I had a funnel cake after that. So it was good. I'm looking forward. I believe it's every week, correct? It's every week? Yes.
Which food truck are you referring
The
to?
one on Carmelita, the Wonderlust one.
Oh, yes, and I would have to defer to
It's
Ben
every
Sandoval,
week
our
for 7
economic
weeks, you said,
development.
Ben? 7 more weeks.
7
All
more
right.
weeks
Every Saturday, right? All right, and I guess there can be a lobster guy coming here in a couple weeks? 2 weeks from now. All right, so all of you that are excited about lobster, I'll be here in 2 weeks. And then, let me see here. A lot of us were at the city council meeting last week with the warehouse project, and it was a full house, packed house, and the city council listened to the public, and they voted against the Simpson project. So it just shows how much public appearance has an effect on the council and the commission. So with that, there's nothing else to report. We're going to adjourn this meeting until May 6, 2025 at 6 p.m.